I have to go back to the Victorian election and its sinister Premier, Daniel Andrews, because the issues in this election are so big that the rest of Australia, it will get affected. Victoria's Labor government is so unbelievably reckless with its spending that its net debt by 2026, 4 years away, will be bigger than the debt of New South Wales, Queensland and Tasmania combined. That's massive. That's inflationary. And it could even get worse, in fact, much worse, very quickly, because today new government figures showed yet another blowout to this year's expected budget deficit. It is blown out by another $500 million, and in just 1 week. In fact, this Andrews government has totally lost control, because look at the stats. In its May budget, it said the deficit this year would be $7.9 billion, already bad enough. Then last week it said, whoops, it had blown out to $9.7 billion. And now, a week later, it's blown out again, $10.2 billion. It's gone up by a quarter in less than a year. That is frightening. But it also raises a crucial question about this government, and particularly about one of its madder new schemes promised in this election. Now, the Andrews government is promising to do something that no other state government has considered, and quite wisely, because its global warming policies are so extreme that Labor has just about killed off its coal-fired power stations. The last ones will be gone in about a decade because of the government's global warming obsession, and they'll be gone before there is anything to replace them. And that is sheer incompetence. That is ideological idiocy trumping reality. But the Premier, a man from the socialist left, now has this desperate idea that he should unleash the inner socialist or communist and essentially nationalise Victoria's power supply to fix this mess. He wants to bring back the old state electricity system and himself, or his government, then run the state on green energy.
Bring back the SEC. Our electricity should never have been privatised. It was. Those companies have made their money out of all of us, and now they're leaving. And we've got a plan to replace them with government-owned renewable energy, to put people before profit and to put downward pressure on people's power bills.
But seriously, does anyone in Victoria trust this Labor government to run an electricity system, a whole new renewable energy power system, and do it cheaply? Even if that was technologically possible, and power station operators say it isn't, what in this government's track record with money and big projects makes anyone think this will turn out well? Because look at this government's biggest infrastructure project. In fact, it's Australia's biggest. It's a rail loop that it's promised that would link all the outer suburbs of Melbourne in one big loop. So suburbs you don't really want to go to will be linked to other suburbs you don't really want to go to others. Brilliant. Now, the estimated cost of this gigantic plan has exploded from a massive $50 billion when Andrews first promised it 4 years ago to a shocking $125 billion, according to an independent budgetary watchdog. That's unbelievable. And this is the government that says, and for our next big trick, we're going to personally run the state on green electricity. We're going to do it personally, and we'll do it for a song. As if. One day when this whole Daniel Andrews experiment finally, boom, explodes in people's faces, what will people think, do you think? I reckon they'll say, what made us ever believe he knew what he was doing? But around Australia, I guarantee everyone's going to pay in their own power prices for a start.